Jess, and welcome to day 30, the final day of our 30-day Learn to Sew challenge. So if you've been following along, congratulations. You should be so proud of yourself for sticking with this challenge and making it to the final day. And if you're just tuning in, I encourage you to check out the other videos a part of this series, including 6 beginner-friendly projects. So I've actually already created an inspirational video with lots of storage and inspirational tips for your sewing area. But I'm going to summarize those tips in this video, and if you're interested in learning more about my sewing room makeover, I encourage you to watch my other video in the link below. I'll also be sharing some bonus tips and information at the end of this video, so you'll want to stick around to the end so you don't miss out on those. So if you already have a small stash or even a large stash of fabrics, patterns, and notions, the first step to getting organized is to figure out what to keep, what to donate, and what to throw away. First, we're going to take everything out of the room and put it all together in one big pile. Then, sort the large pile into 3 smaller piles, one to keep, one to donate, and one to throw away. This technique will give you a perspective on how much you have and will force you to go through everything at once. Decide on what you really don't need or realistically don't plan to use. It'll be tough, but it will feel like a weight has been lifted after purging your stash. Don't forget to sweep and clean before we bring anything back in. Next, let's get started on organizing your fabrics. I used to store my fabrics in containers and would forget about what I had. Now I file my fabric in a filing cabinet. Take a hanging file folder and cut across to create 2 fabric hangers. Take a piece of fabric and arrange it so the selvages are aligned and the folded edge is at the top. Then fold it in half, matching the top fold with the selvages. Depending on your yardage, you may have to fold the fabric in half again. Then fold it over the fabric hanger. I file my fabrics in color order and also by type, such as novelty, holiday, batik, and canvas. If you don't have a filing cabinet, usually you can find them for cheap at garage sales or thrift stores. For cork fabric, faux leather, and other specialty fabrics, I roll them and secure them with a rubber band. Then I store them in a drawer organizer to keep them protected from sunlight and dust. I store mine by solids, prints, and type. For fabrics less than a quarter yard, I do store those in a container so my scraps are all together. I sort my cork fabric and faux leather scraps into a plastic bag to keep them separate from my cotton and canvas scraps. Next, let's tackle your pattern stash. Instead of a disorganized basket or box full of patterns, store them in binders. Insert your printed PDF or store-bought patterns into separate sheet protectors. The sheet protectors will prevent dust and water from damaging your patterns. Then sort into binders depending on the type, designer, or in alphabetical order. Instead of storing thread in a tangled up mess in a bag or container, I use a thread rack. It's easy to keep bobbins organized with the matching spool by placing the bobbin on the rack first, then the spool on top. I suggest sorting your thread by type, color, or application. Next, let's organize that mess of notions. I love using drawers to organize the little things so they're easy to access but out of sight, which will make the space look cleaner. Group your notions by type or application, such as all of your glues and tapes together, needles, marking utensils, and so on. Then grab some plastic bins from the dollar store or unused containers from around your house and add the notions to the individual bins. Then place the organized bins into the drawer. Make sure to clearly label the front of the drawer with what's inside. To organize your presser feet, I recommend using a clear plastic compartment box. This will keep your feet protected and sorted. I store my zippers in a drawer. I roll them around my hand and sort by tape color with the coil color towards the top so it's easy to see what I have. This is just what I do to keep them condensed into a smaller space. But if you have another method of organizing zippers, I'd love to hear what you do if you'd like to drop a comment below. Then I use recycled Ziploc bags to separate my zipper pulls by color. My last storage idea is for all of your spray bottles and spray adhesives.
Find a larger basket strong enough to hold your bottles. I use this fabric basket my mom made me. I love the vintage print she used, and I like to have it on display, so it doubles as a piece of decor for my sewing area. Simply add your bottles to the basket, and we're ready to start decorating.
I encourage you to set the mood for how you want to feel in your sewing and crafting space. So perhaps you're like me and want to feature an outdoor garden. Then you can incorporate elements of plants and even play nature sounds or some calming music. Or maybe you like bright colors and bold patterns in your creative space, or even vintage elements, so you could incorporate worn furniture and collectible trinkets. I do love adding plants into a space, even if they are artificial. They just add some texture, warmth, and refreshing mood to my sewing area. If you don't have a permanent area for sewing and crafting, you can find a sturdy table, desk, or even set up a temporary space that can easily be set up and stored away. So you'll want to have enough room for your sewing machine and a workspace. So that way you have room for cutting, laying out your pieces, and ironing. So the space doesn't have to be big, but you do need enough room to get up and move around between your sewing machine and your work area.
If you have a small space like me or prefer an area close to your machine for ironing, I recommend using the top of your drawer organizer as a small pressing station. A wool pressing mat provides a large pressing area, and a mini pressing iron is just the right size. Keep your basket of spray bottles next to the pressing station and store your mat next to your drawer organizer and your iron inside the basket when not in use.
I've truly enjoyed sharing this transformation with you, and I hope you will find that you'll enjoy sewing even more when your space is organized and you love the way it looks. By now, I hope you're feeling proud and accomplished and eager to start your next sewing project. However, if you're still feeling a bit overwhelmed, that is completely okay. I do have some additional bonus tips to share with you to wrap up this series. Don't force it. Wait until a pattern comes along that excites you. Ease into the project and break it down into manageable steps so that way you don't get burnt out or overwhelmed. And if you do start a project and you're not enjoying it, it's not turning out how you would want it to, either you could finish it up and donate the final item to charity or gift it to a friend or family member who may love it. Otherwise, you could perhaps use up the scraps and repurpose them for a new project. My next tip is to find a sewing buddy. Ask a friend or family member to sew with you. It's always great to have somebody by your side. Take a class at your local sewing or quilt store. If you want that one-on-one or group experience, search online to see what shops are in your area and what classes they may offer. You may have to call because not all shops list on their website their class schedule. Otherwise, you might have to go in store. And my last tip is to enroll in an online sewing class. At Sallie Tomato, we create a full tutorial for every single one of our patterns, which you can access at any time on our YouTube channel for free, so you have the support if you want it. There are lots of other companies and blogs who create tutorials for specific patterns or techniques, so definitely take advantage of what is available online. There is so much content, and the sewing community is a wealth of knowledge. You'll find lots of support on social media groups that you can ask questions, so definitely join the communities that are out there and take full advantage of those. If you're wondering where to go from here, I've created a blog post with a list of 25 beginner-friendly projects ranked from novice to advanced beginner, so definitely check those out in the link below. And remember, if you decide to make some of the projects in this series or want to show off your sewing space, share photos using hashtag SallieTomato and hashtag 30-day sewing challenge so we can celebrate with you. I wish you all my best. Thank you so much for joining me. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for free access to all kinds of creative content. I'll see you next time.